first cookbook came out right before Sundance, and it's a compilation of 21 restaurants from around town. Features, it really showcases the restaurants, about the restaurant, interviews with the chef, and then they submit up to 5 restaurants. And it's a full color coffee table style book that's illustrated, lots of beautiful photos that Pat took of a lot of the restaurant's food shots, and then he also worked on a lot of the scenic shots that are throughout the book. And then the second book is, I think we have about 18 restaurants. There's 1 or 2 repeats, but most of them are new, showcasing a whole new set of recipes and restaurants.
I love having you all here because it really shows the collaboration that goes into a project like this. There's so many different aspects and each of you have your role. So tell me about how you select the restaurants and then what the process is like to choose the specific recipes that you want to include in the book.
Well, I'll let Matt handle the recipe choice, but there were a lot of restaurants in town from the last book, and I've known a lot of the restaurants from living here from the 70s all through. And you see the restaurants that are around, the ones that have character, style, more personality. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants I would have loved to have had in it, but it just happened that these were the ones that we worked well with. And then Matt can actually talk about how he chooses the recipes, because I really leave that to the chefs.
Makes sense.
So how I kind of chose the recipes is not necessarily like bestsellers or anything, but the recipes that are a little more detailed and people are wondering like, wow, what is that ingredient or something. And what this book does is it gives people an opportunity to read what maybe that secret ingredient is or something that they can't identify when they come in to eat, So we picked a couple of things that people are always asking for. Hey, what's that secret flavor, or what's that
It's always
ingredient?
nutmeg though, right?
A lot of times, I think. But yeah, that's kind of just to make it fun and, interactive. And just, they're recipes. They're not secrets. It's fun. It gives another interaction. Because when you're busy at a restaurant, a lot of times you don't have time to come out and answer all the questions. And it gets the information out there, and it makes it fun for everybody. Go home and try to make the recipe, and if something maybe I didn't add this, or next thing you get a call and be like, no, do it like this, and it's all good. So
do you do the ingredients just slightly different so that people can't quite get it right?
No.
You don't lead them astray at all?
No, I try to do simple things that have some flavors that may not be like, wow, that's crab or that's pickled something, but it's a little bit of secret ingredients to give out that info.
Yeah,
it makes it fun. Gives another interaction.
And it doesn't take away at all from the restaurant experience, because sitting down and enjoying the food and having a real chef prepare it is an entirely different experience in itself. But it's fun to be able to go home and try to figure out kind of how your favorite recipes were created.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the ideas of the recipes in here, a lot of the restaurants, well, not a lot, but a couple said, well, we don't want to give our recipes out. I was like, really, people can't really recreate it. The idea is to take the book home and create a whole evening of that restaurant, like an evening of Tupelo or evening of Shabu or an evening of Apex or Eccentric, and to be able to recreate the whole evening.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who can't really cook very well at all, I know that even if it's something as simple as like a box of pierogies or a ham sandwich, if I make it, it's never as good as if a friend or my mom makes it. So I'm guessing it's a similar experience, but it's fun to try.
Well, I can say the same thing. I love when people cook for me.
That's true.
And then Pat goes through all the photos, so he takes care of that.
Yes. So Patrick Cohn, tell me a little bit about photography. What goes into your decisions when you're taking these photos?
First off, you need a chef who knows how to present things. So it needs to be styled very, very well. The better the styling, and the nicer looking it is, the better. Then I have to take a look and figure out what's the best presentation angle, start bringing in lighting, light it, try and make it simple, concentrate on the food, not any weird props or things that are around it. You really want to concentrate on the ingredients in the food and what it looks like. So it's been a good experience. I mean, the restaurant scene's really blown up here. There's a lot of great things going on. Spent yesterday at a couple of restaurants. Real impressed with what's being presented and some of the flavors and what it looks like too. And the one reason we do photos is hopefully when people make these recipes, they might try to make it look like what the restaurant does, because it takes a lot of effort and experience to make it look nice enough. And
Yeah.
for me to take a photograph of it.
Certainly. When you first approach a dish and your task is to make it look as good as possible in the photograph, what is the first thing that you think about?
I look at color, I look at the angles, I look if there's I will spin things and make sure, figure out what's the best entrance into the food. Like a lot of times there's a back and a front when somebody styles a plate, and do that, try and get in close. And concentrate on the food, like I said, and the colors, and lighting, and making sure lighting's correct. You don't want a piece of blue-green lettuce in a photograph.
Right.
It puts
Get
everybody
that white
off.
balance,
so
right.
light balance is essential to make it look accurate and lifelike, and something you'd want to eat.
So all of you are a part of this food culture at Park City, and I've only been here about a year, so I cannot say for myself, but I've heard that it's really been growing, that the culinary culture, and that Park City is one of the top locations actually for gourmet food in the world. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I know that growing up here, even in the 70s, skiing would be a big part of your life. But I remember as a kid, at 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, that the restaurant scene was big then. I remember a lot of the restaurants here, and we were excited to go to different ones in town, even though there wasn't the abundance we have now. So I think, I just remember that it's been like that forever, but maybe Matt can touch on the bigger growth in comparison to the bigger cities.
Yeah, I think Park City has came a long way. I've been here going on 8 years, and just seen growth and change, and people travel here from all over the place, large cities like New York and San Francisco, etc. And there's expectations to have great quality food. With that, it takes great quality restaurants. So I think there's definitely been a big growth in ingredients and different and diversity of restaurants here in Park City.
I was talking to Laura Moldauer at the Park City Culinary Institute, and she was telling me about how much it has grown, and also that it's kind of developing its own flavor. There's sort of a Park City flavor that, there's all these different chefs that come internationally to live in Park City because it's such a cool place, and they're bringing these different international sort of tastes with them. So tell me a little bit about what you're bringing to Tupelo. What are some of your inspirations there?
Well, Tupelo's a contemporary American restaurant, but I also bring my accent. I bring flavors from the South.
Flair.
Southern flair. It's like what we call
There it is.
We don't necessarily consider ourselves a Southern restaurant, but we definitely use a lot of Southern ingredients and a lot of Southern flair techniques, stuff like that to make it a special
To give it
dining
that special
experience.
flavor.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And with the book, the variety, like Adolph's is in the new book, which I thought was just awesome. Because he has the Swiss flair, and we have the Blue Boar is in there, Tupelo, the Southern, then we have some contemporary restaurants. There is the variety, and we've tried to get a variety. And in fact, Park City Institute, Lori, they're in this book,
Yeah.
which was great. And she sent some great recipes and featured a variety of her chefs.
Wow.
People that are training or people that have established that still teach classes there.
I love how you're really capturing the flavor in your cookbook. You're trying to get that diversity in the cookbook.
Well, it's
Very cool.
important. You don't want to just have one book with the same focus, because people go to the different restaurants for all those different reasons. And then throughout the book, there's also the diversity of Park City environment. There's biking photos, there's ski photos, there's fall photos, there's all different types of just environmental shots, scenery, the color of the housing. Pat did a beautiful shot of Old Town in the first book that we get a lot of compliments on.
Wow. So we just have one last moment here. Tell me where people can find the book when it's completed.
So the book it's actually all over town. You can get it on our website at Park City Publishing to ship out. But in town, it's Dolly's, at Cole Sport, at Jan's, at La Niche. I think it's at the Mercantile on Main Street, Rooted. Let's see where else. A lot of the restaurants have it, the signature stores for Deer Valley.
Wow.
I'm sure I've missed a bunch. All the restaurants, I think I said that the restaurants will carry them as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It is the Park City Mountain Town Cookbook. Check it out. It's available all over Park City, and you can start cooking yourself. Stay tuned for more here on the Mountain Morning Show.